people. It's been a little while, but I wanted to do a couple things in this video. I wanted to talk to you about watering. I know I've done a video about how I water my plants, but there's more than one way, and I had someone that asked me about this, so I wanted to explain what's going on, and I want to do a houseplant update as well. As you can see, there's been a lot of growth, especially with these spider plants. Most of these guys are in trays here because I'm getting ready to water everything. Part of the reason I'm doing the video. So the spider plants, yeah, they're spidering everywhere. Tons of offshoots, tons of little spider babies, as they're called, and really happy. So yeah, this is a relatively new offshoot. These ones are a little bit more mature, and plus there's two more coming out on this guy. I would love to get some kind of tiered plant stand for these guys to have them on display. They also really seem to be enjoying the being under the lights, so that's quite something. This is one of the pothos. I believe this is the cuttings from our neighbor next door. The other one that I had put on the moss pole, I have in the house. I'll pop up a video in one of the corners so that you can see. I actually had to extend the moss pole, so it couldn't fit in this space anymore. So it's with the Monstera in the corner in the house. These are, let me just grab in here, the cuttings. Remember I was doing an experiment with the cuttings, which would do better, and I found that aerating the water and with a little bit of fertilizer and on the heat mats were doing really well. So yeah, I potted them up. This actually was the one that was just in regular water. Put this guy back here. The other two, well, two are inside, and this is the other one. These are ones that were in the aerated water. This one in particular doesn't seem to be doing that well. It hasn't died. I hope it isn't doing a slow death, but the leaves haven't perked up really since they've been in here. So I feel like it's struggling, and I don't really see roots on any kind of root action going on through the pots. Remember what I was saying before? Kind of handy to have the see-through pots so you can see what's going on. You can definitely see some roots there on this one. The other two inside do look perkier and healthier, so it might just be this one. There's this guy again. Let me get him out here. Yeah, buds on it and everything. So, yeah, I think this one's going to go through the winter and keep on surviving. It's looking pretty good. It's dropped some leaves. I cut back the vines that were growing on top because they were growing incredibly wild, and it was poking through the top of and wrapping around the bars on the top of the grow stand. But yeah, this guy's looking good. His partner here, hold on, don't break. Oi. Ooh, that was close. His partner here doesn't look that great, but keep in mind, this guy's supposed to be going dormant, so I'm only giving it a little bit of water once a month. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. I had a couple of the spider pups or babies in a glass jar. I guess a couple months ago now, and I was looking to propagate from there. I put them in like damp sphagnum moss and hoping it would root up. Those guys just died. They never did root up. But I think my problem was I put them in there too soon. They probably look similar to this guy up here when I put them in. And actually, you're supposed to wait. I don't know if you can see it here. Yeah, you can see it here. Those little root nubs there, you have to wait till you see those on these guys. Then you can take them off and put them in water or propagate them that way. I have done that successfully with a few, and I actually have them potted up into small, these little small grow pots, well, pots inside. And they have been doing pretty well. So from the looks of it, I should get a lot of propagations from these spider plants. They also do put out little itty bitty seed pods after the flowers have expired. I was looking to see if I can see one on here, and I can't give you an example, but I managed to grab a few of those, and I planted them. I'll move that aside, and one plant came up. I planted a whole row of them, but only one plant came up. But there were literally like one seed per each one of this row of seed pods, and the seeds are incredibly small, like very small little black seeds. So, but yeah, I did get one to grow from scratch. Who knows how long that's going to take. This has been this size and is putting out its first set of real leaves for about a week and a half now. So yeah, hopefully that keeps on surviving, and yeah, we'll see where it goes. This is the same seed tray, by the way, that I tried to do the lilac in, but like I said, I think they needed some stratification, so none of them germinated. And I also was experimenting with some lemon or lime seeds, but I had those seeds came from a lime or lemon that I got from the store, and I have a suspicion that they will not seed at all, and they haven't, because they're most likely a hybrid, and they're probably designed to be grafted onto another tree. The plant needs to be grafted on another tree and not grown from seed. I also noticed that the store-bought lemons and limes, they tend to not have very many seeds at all in there. So yeah, that's what's going on there. And of course, on the last level, we have the crotons. These guys just keep on soldiering on like a champion. Great color and splotches on these guys. The San Francisco ones, that's a whole new stalk in the middle that came up with a whole bunch of leaves as well. This was the guy that produced this giant leaf here out of nowhere, and then it started to grow the stalk, so maybe that was a precursor to its growth spurt even more. As you can see, same thing, this guy's doing well, and those guys back there. Very simple to take care of, really enjoying their life, it seems. And as you can see, lots and lots of roots on there. And finally, we have the flamingo plant. These guys have been doing excellent as well. And tons of root action going on this thing. This one, the one that I was worried about, it had like damaged leaves and whatever else, and that's what these cut marks are. I cut out all the browning leaves. It's been putting out new leaves, so it's bouncing back from whatever it didn't like before. Too bad you can't feel this pot, how tight it is. I might have to actually pot this up to a larger size. I don't currently have transparent pots that are a little bit bigger than this, so I'll probably have to order. But new leaves coming up like crazy. This guy's pushing out new leaves in there as well. So yeah, enjoying their life. And from the clippings of this guy here, that whole row of clippings that I had in the propagation tray, this is the only one that survived. And I managed to transplant it into a small pot, and it's been growing on fine. Like I said, I didn't try to propagate those properly. There's like some steps for wooded plants especially that you have to do in order to get it to propagate properly. But I'll probably do that in another video, because I also want to try air layering again to see if I can get that to work. Anyways, watering. Good stuff. Plants need water. In my other videos, you've seen me like at the beginning of spring, when I have the seeds growing in the cells, in the propagation trays, these guys, and I fill them up with the seedling mix. I put them in the tray, and you'll notice all the time that I'm watering from the bottom. So what that means is I'm not pouring the water on top. I'm pouring the water in the tray and letting the soil and the seed mix suck water up from the bottom. A couple reasons I do that is that I really don't want to disturb the seeds that I just planted in the plugs, and there's always a chance of, as you're watering, that you're washing away the seeds or moving the seeds, possibly moving from one cell to another. So just allowing it to suck up the water, it does a great job. Something to keep in mind with watering, how you water. You can water your houseplants like that depending on what kind of soil mix that you are using. If you're just using typical soil mix, this is my indoor mix that I have. You notice it's kind of fine. It's a mixture of the peat moss, cocoa care, the vermiculite, and maybe some perlite, and a little bit of worm castings. All those things really hold onto the moisture. The seedling mix that I use is just the peat moss and vermiculite, or peat moss, cocoa care, and the vermiculite. Once again, designed to hold on to the moisture. And you want that in the seedling mix because you want the seeds to be in moisture but not sitting in water. So once you plant the seeds and you dampen the mix and you put the cover on top, the humidity will hold the moisture in the seed mix, and that mix does a good job of holding the moisture, and it helps the seed to germinate. Once you've planted them up, your house plants, into pots this size or even bigger, anything like that, depending on the plant, you don't necessarily want that. And for most of the plants that I have, the tropical plants, they prefer a chunky mix like this. This is the my tropical or orchid mix, and as you can see, it has bigger chunks of stuff. There's bigger chunks of the perlite, mica or clay pellets, bark, tree bark, vermiculite. It's just a lot more chunkier and a lot more airy. And what that allows is the water to free drain through it when you pour water on top. The issue with that is it doesn't suck up water the same way that something like this would. So if I were just to pour water in here, because these two have the my tropical mix, soil mix in there. If I were just to put the water in the bottom and put these in, the bottom portion of the pot might soak up some water, but the whole top layer won't get anything. So with these plants, I do what I call flood watering, which is I just pour the water on top and allow it to drain through. This one, since I just, it's a cutting that I just potted up to a larger size, I have it in the indoor mix, but eventually it will move into the potting mix. But for this one, I can do either or. I can flood water from the top or do the bottom. but at least I have a choice with this one. If this is just sitting in water, it will suck the water up from the bottom because of the combination of stuff in there. And just to give you an example of how free-flowing it is, so let's start with this guy. If I just pour water through, and this is what I mean by flooding, I just flood the top, and almost instantly all that water is coming out the bottom. And that's how free, because there's a lot of air pockets in here, and that's how free-flowing the orchid mix is. And that's what you want for these particular tropical plants, because they like the air getting to the roots, and they will push out a lot more roots and benefit from it a lot quicker. Now, if I do the same thing with this one, pour, I'm flooding from the top. You notice nothing's coming through yet. It's still soaking through. It's a much slower process. There, first drip's starting to happen there. Once again, I can flood water this one like I do the rest, and it will be fine. It will just take longer. The other issue with flood watering a mix like a regular indoor mix, especially if you have a larger pot like this or even larger, you will probably have to flood it a few times, because you flood it once, it doesn't mean the water makes it all the way to the bottom. Just now, you saw a few drips, it did. And actually, I'm not even too sure if that's just the water dripping off the bottom from this one that watered. But it takes longer. If I just put the water in the bottom here and let it sit, I can let it sit for like a half an hour or an hour, and I know by that time, even on a larger pot, the water will have, a lot of the water will have sucked up into the plant. So that's two different watering techniques. Like I said, for the tropical or orchid mix, just flood watering seems to be the trick. And once again, I'm only doing this once a week. I know there's people out there that test their soil to see if it's dry with the finger method. Usually you stick your finger in the pot up to the first or second knuckle, and if it comes out clean, then you water some more. I particularly don't like that, especially now that I've gotten used to these see-through containers, because especially if you're using a regular indoor potting mix, the first few inches might be dry, but water might be collecting and pooling on the bottom. And you're adding more water on top because you think, oh, it's dry, and now you're slowly killing your plant, and you're wondering why your plant is dying. If you want to use that finger method, or that poke method, I guess is a better term for it, use a stick or like a chopstick, which is much longer, that you can get all the way to the bottom, and you're looking for the same thing. If you poke it all the way to the bottom and you pull it out and it's not clean, that means there's still moisture in the plant. But if you're sticking it all the way down there and pulling it out and it's dry, then it's time to water. The other thing that I have been doing is I'm diluting the fertilizer all the time when I'm watering. So I'm not following the box, and this is an equally balanced fertilizer. So every week these plants are getting some kind of food. And I think they said for indoor plants you're supposed to use like a full scoop of the small side. I'm using like a half or quarter of that, so maybe something like that. And it's going into a 4-liter jug like that, and that's what I'm getting. It's a low dosage, but it's a balanced dosage, the 20-20-20, that I'm giving to all the plants on a regular basis. I think the plants benefit more from doing it that way. I honestly am not one to do deep research to find out which plants need to get fertilizer at what time of year, because honestly I just don't have that kind of time. Maybe some of the plants will do better, I don't know. These guys seem to be happy with what's going on, so I'll keep on doing that. I just find it easier to manage that way. The other thing that I am doing inside, which is absolutely not necessary, is I'm using distilled water on the plants inside because that's where my orchids are. And I've heard that they do better with distilled water. We'll see what happens. This is my first time, to be honest, my orchids this is the longest that they have lasted, and they're pushing out new roots. Fingers crossed, I'm hoping for flower shoots in the next couple months. Who knows? But they seem to be doing well in that case. Don't know if it is the distilled water or not, but I figure why not. I'm using the distilled water for another project that I'm working on. It's a multi-month project, so you'll see a video of it eventually. But since I am using distilled water in that project, I figured I might as well try it on the orchids and see how it goes. So anyways, that's it. Low dosage fertilizer, and equally balanced fertilizer for all the plants once a week, 7-day cycle with the watering, low dosaging, regular water for these, distilled water for the orchids, although questionable whether it needs it. And yeah, that's the updates and how I do the watering on the plants. It's cold today, snow on the ground outside, fun times. Woo! But at least it's kind of warm in here. Anyways, guys, have a great weekend. I'll talk to you later.